Hell yeah, I'm really gonna like this one. What is up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be talking about the METE SF today. Stay tuned.
We do not sell firearms or firearm accessories. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. All shooting is done on a safe range in a safe environment. All weapons safety checked, cleared, and pointed in a safe direction. Safety is key.
It's a chore, man, I know, but I need you guys to hit that like and subscribe. This keeps 2A content recommended to you and lets YouTube know that you want to see this type of content. All right, so let's get into it. Of course, you saw by the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about a Canik product today. Now, this one is not new. It was introduced back in August of 2021, I believe, and it is going to be the METE SF. And I always appreciate Canik for giving us a hard box for all of their guns, unlike Smith & Wesson and Taurus. But at any rate, we appreciate the hard boxes. Let's take a look at this beautiful gun. It is cleared. Safety is always king, so there's no ammo in the work area. So let's get into what's in the box. Of course, they give you a trigger safety. There's a plunger for the chamber flag, whatever you're going to call it. We'll get that stuff out of the way. We'll open this little package here a little bit later. But there is some paperwork in here. These are going to be the typical Canik materials. It provides some marketing material, of course, the owner's manual, and then we have, some information about what's in the box, and then a little diagram to show you about assembly, disassembly. We're not going to spend too much time on that stuff, of course, so we'll put that back and we'll move the gun to the side. Now, inside of this package right here, like I said, Canik is always good for providing you with a bunch of little goodies, things to take care of your weapon, as well as some accessories. First, we have a punch tool used to do various things on the firearm. They provide an extra palm swell or back strap, so you can fit the grip to what works for your hand. Canik is always gracious enough to include some optic plates. They are plastic or polymer, but they work. I haven't really heard any complaints with them. A lot of people replace them with metal optic plates from other manufacturers or other third parties, which is cool. This little tool right here is shaped like your Canik firearm, and it includes the little screwdriver to take your optic on and off. It's pretty cool. I always appreciate that little detail component here. So we'll get this out of the way and just kind of take a look at the firearm itself. I want to say this is probably my third or fourth Canik, and I have been very pleased with each one of them. They have all shot and performed well. I've never really had any malfunctions on any of them. So let's take a look at this one. The METE SF has a nice quality barrel there, and the overall quality of the gun is pretty nice. It has a steel guide rod in there, which is always nice. We don't want any polymer. Personally, I always appreciate when the optic setup is not including the rear sight. I like to have my sights on the gun for co-witnessing, so I definitely appreciate that. This does have a loaded chamber indicator up top and a firing pin indicator on the back. 3-dot white sights that are steel or metal, not polymer like some manufacturers who refuse to get rid of the polymer sights. The serrations on the slide front and back are very grippy. Don't have to worry about any traction issues. Got an external extractor, which I haven't had any cycling issues or extraction issues with any of my Caniks. The triggers on the Caniks are always the rave, right? There's a little bit of pre-travel take up on the pull here, but the trigger pull is always crisp as always, and the reset is very nice. Take a second look at that. Love the triggers on the Caniks, man. Now, I do wish they all came with the aluminum shoe, kind of like the METE Prime, but that is something you can add later. This 1 series only came with one 15-round magazine. If you buy the regular one without not the None 1 series, comes with two 15-round mags, which is appreciated. It has a mag well there at the bottom that's integrated in the grip, and the mags fall out really nice once you completely press that mag release. There's a double undercut on the trigger guard, which is greatly appreciated. This definitely assists with you're getting a good purchase on the gun and getting your support hand under there for control of the firearm. Has some serrations or grip on the front of the trigger guard, 1913 Picatinny reel, which is always appreciated. Modern weapons should definitely come with a Picatinny reel. This does have a ambidextrous slide stop, as you see here, and it is extended so that you can actually access it or actuate it with even small hands. It has some extra grooves here to aid in support or grabbing the gun. So the contours on this thing are really, really nice. This is a evolution of the TP9 SF series that they did with the METE series, starting back in August of 2021. At the same time when they dropped this series, they did drop the SFT and the SFX, which are basically larger variants of the METE SF line. And you know, all of them have been pretty solid, man. The grip texture on this gun is great. I do wish it extended all the way up into where they have those grooves towards the top of the frame, but the grip areas in general are really nice. I haven't had any issues with controlling or maintaining control of the firearm during firing, so no complaints there really. More of a personal contention. It does have some memory pads here for your index finger and for your support hand thumb, which is always appreciated as well. Are they needed? No, but I mean, any features that are modernized and we know that we like, I mean, I don't understand why manufacturers are not including them. All right, so let's slide over to the range, get first shots, and then we'll conclude with final thoughts. And of course, always appreciate the ambidextrous controls. You're in a defensive situation, you never know what's going to happen. You always want to be able to manipulate your gun with either hand. As you can see, gun's pretty accurate. As always, Caniks never had any accuracy issues, so yeah, perform well. All right, so we're back from the range. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. Yes, I have my savior bag from my P226 Legion, and I have a Canik in my Legion bag. Absolutely. It's a range bag. I'm using it. Just based on the short range session that we had, first shots really. I think I put like 3 or 4 magazines through it. I will say that it is a soft shooter for the most part. All right, so my initial thoughts are basically it is a good shooter. It's not the softest, not the lowest recoiling, doesn't have the least amount of muzzle flip, but for what it is a great shooter. I would stack this up against any of the Glocks and even a Smith & Wesson polymer frame like this one. Yeah, I mean, it was comparable. I mean, I would say this M&P, especially with the sported version, it's definitely a softer shooter, but they're relatively the same size, minus the magwell and extension there. This is like Glock 19 size, so all of these are pretty much comparable. This is a softer shooter, but we're here to talk about the METE SF. Now, how much of a softer shooter? Not by much, and maybe that's a video for another time. That may actually be a good comparison. But for the price point of this gun, I'll put that up here on the screen. Now, I did buy the 1 Series, which you saw on the box. Now, mostly bought the 1 Series because I didn't need all the extra stuff that comes in the box. I'm probably not going to use the holster that Canik sends, and I still actually have one of the Canik holsters from the TPS 9 Elite SC, I think, that I bought. And I use that holster every once in a while to carry one of my guns. I think it's the P10C. At any rate, I'm not going to use the holster. The only thing I would have been taking from the box, if I would have got the standard bundle, would be the extra magazine and the magwell. So I figured I would save a little bit of money, buy the 1 series, use the gun as is for now, and then maybe I'll add the magwell on later, and I'll buy another magazine. The magazines are really not that expensive. Now, one good thing about the Canik series of guns is that you can use all of the magazines on all of the guns. The gun is still clear, no ammo over here. Watching the video, the guns stay relatively flat for a striker fire polymer frame pistol with a 4.19 inch. I don't know why they didn't just do 4.2, 4.25, 4.19 inch barrel. The shooting characteristics of the Mete SF were really impressive. Didn't have a lot of muzzle rise. I was able to manage the recoil really well. It definitely was not snappy by any means. I would put this up against any Glock. Like I said before, I actually would prefer this over a Glock any day. And I mean, anybody who watches my channel pretty much knows that I'm not a Glock fan anyway. But Canik is definitely rivaling Glock. And as far as reliability goes, if you watch my video on the TP9 SF, I've had that gun for over 7 years, and it has over 5,000+ rounds through it, still running like it did when I first got it. Have had no issues with it, no malfunctions. It has been reliable. I've used it in a few different training scenarios, running drills, and I've also used it as a nightstand gun. I did actually use it on the range pretty heavily the first like 2 or 3 years that I had it. Since then, it's gotten mild use. But back to the Mete SF. For the price point, this is a steal. These come in at about $325 for the 1 series, and right about $475 if you buy the standard bundle model that comes traditionally. All in all, if you get one of these, you will not be disappointed. Very good gun. I'm actually thinking about adding this to my regular carry rotation. I was actually that impressed with it. One thing I will say is this gun was pretty feature rich, as I kind of touched on earlier. The grip texture is pretty good. I like the way it has this extended magazine release here. The ambidextrous controls, the slide stop there, and then you can actually swap the magazine release also to the other side and make it ambi on that as well. It comes with extra back straps. Like I said, the texture is pretty good. Has different contours and all that to make the gun comfortable to shoot. We've got metal sights on here, and one thing about these sights is the way that they're designed. You can actually rack this gun with the sight. Also has a deep undercut under the trigger guard, as well as a double undercut. The original TP9 SF did not have that, so this is one of the features they added on the Mete SF line. Now, a couple of cons to close out. I'm not going to say everything is great about this gun. One thing that I wish that most companies will do, some of them are starting to finally do it now. We want texture all the way up here on both sides. That aids in the control from your dominant hand or primary hand, as well as from your support hand. Now, what's kind of a personal opinion and not really a definite con, but it could be, are going to be the serrations up here at the front. Now, the ones on the back, no problem. These are very grippy, no issue at all with those. But the ones on the front, the serrations on the front, the deepness of them is really good at the bottom, but as you come up to the top, the serration is kind of thin. So if you're gripping here, then you get a pretty good grip on it. But if you're grabbing anywhere up here, then your hand kind of slides. Now, if you are press checking like this, then it's not a big deal because your thumb and your hand is actually grabbing here. So I don't know if that was the philosophy behind making the serrations like that, but it works for doing that. But if you're trying to grab it like this and you're not going down far enough, you're definitely going to slip off of there. But if you get down on there good enough, it works every time because the serrations down here at the bottom are very deep. Now, I don't want to ask for too much at this price point, but again, the 3-dot setup, not a biggest fan of that. I wish there was some kind of color up here. Maybe a yellow, orange, red, something like that. I mean, not red, I guess. Yellow, orange, some kind of tritium or something like that would actually be phenomenal. But at this price point, I mean, look, you can't get it all, right? All in all, this is definitely one that I'm happy I added to the collection. And this thing will be getting some use. I'm actually really impressed by this offering. Before I close up, there is one other thing that I thought I'd touch on. Now, when I was out at the range and as well as just messing around with the gun, if you notice right here, when I press the magazine release, see how it releases but not completely. Now if I push the magazine release down all the way, of course it does come out, but you have to actually apply a good amount of pressure to the mag release to get that thing to come out. If you baby it any kind of way, it's actually getting stuck in there, so you have to make sure you push that thing. But overall, it's a good mag release, works pretty good. One of those complaints that's really not a complaint, but it's kind of a complaint. All right, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Like, subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.